Everybody, this is Dream, and today we got a nice 8-game slate. This slate is one of the end-season playoff days, so do keep that in mind. So that should have some better games here. With that said, before I get started, can you guys smash that like and subscribe button? It really does help the channel a lot. We do have an extensive injury report. I will try to do some college basketball stuff later today and drop that in the YouTube posts. So do check in for that later, hopefully in a few hours. But with that said, we've been doing well so far this week, and so let's keep continuing that. NBA's been rough because of all the injuries, but as most days this week, throughout the day we'll get more injury news and guys being out, and that will hopefully open up more value. Though this slate is better for value than some of the other slates have been this week, and I expect this to be a really high scoring and good slate. Let's go ahead and get into the injury report here. For the Bulls, Levine is questionable and Caruso is questionable. For the Celtics, Holiday is questionable and Porzingis remains out. For the Hawks, Jalen Johnson is out. For the Cavs, Wade is out. For the Bucks, Middleton is questionable and Crowder is out. For the Heat, Butler and Highsmith are questionable. Hero remains out. For the Nets, Claxton, Smith Jr. are both questionable. Cam Thomas is doubtful and Simmons is out. For the Hornets, Ball is doubtful and Richards is out. For the Timberwolves, McDaniels is out. For the Rockets, Amin Thompson is out. For the Mavs, Lively is questionable and Cleaver is out. And for the Kings, Murray is doubtful. So let's get into the guys I do like here. We're going to start with Shai Alexander. Now Shai's played very well this season. His price is still right around 10,000, which is about where we want him to be. He has some extremely good upside in this matchup here against Minnesota. I like his potential here, and he's obviously the best player on their team by a lot. And he has this off sorts of good upside in this one. Even with his assists and rebounds being a little bit down the last few games, he's still managing to score a just metric ton of real points, and that's really boosting his fantasy output. So if he can get more rebounds and assists too, that even gives him more upside. He's also starting to get more steals each game, and he's been getting some blocks as well. So he has a lot of upside in this matchup, and he's got a great opportunity to have a big game. He's one of my favorite plays when it comes to expensive options. The other guy I really like is Sabonis for the Kings. Now he's been very good against Golden State this season. He's had a couple down games against the Pelicans a couple of games ago. But I look for him to get a double-double here almost certainly, and he has some triple-double potential. He's played very well with Fox on the floor, and he'll continue to play well, I think, in this matchup. It's a very good matchup for him and a great matchup for the Kings as well. I do think the Kings end up winning the game. Then we'll look at Anthony Edwards for Minnesota. Now, I tend to think of him as a GPP play, but he's playing very well right now. He's had a low floor in a few games, but he's got a good matchup here against Oklahoma City, which really isn't going to play much defense. This game should be high scoring and have a lot of potential for good fantasy output games. He's definitely capable of a monster game here, and his price is actually still pretty good for where I like him to be. Then we're going to look at Sengun for Houston. Now, I do think Houston wins this game against Dallas, and that's going to give him a lot of potential here. His price has come up a little bit, but with the matchup and his potential, I think he has 50 fantasy point upside in this matchup, and I think he'll likely get there, especially if Houston can win the game. He should be able to get double-double relatively easily here, as there's going to be a lot of jump shots and outside shots, so I look for him to dominate here, and with the center questionable for Dallas, he should be able to dominate here as well. Then we'll look at Fred VanVleet. Now, he is probable on the slate, but I do expect him to play, and if he does, he'll be a great option against Dallas here. He's played very well lately, and he's got just as much upside as anybody on the slate. He definitely looks like he's been playing well, as in 6 of the last 7 games he's been over 40 fantasy points, and so he should be good to go here and a great opportunity to have a good game. Then we'll look at Evan Mobley for Cleveland. Now, he's played very well despite Allen being back. His price has also come down slightly, which gives him a lot of potential here. I kind of expect him to hit right around where his price needs for 5x, so that makes him relatively safe, and he has a pretty high floor, and he has a really good matchup here. He's had some tough matchup games, and he's still done well, and so I expect him to continue to do well in a positive matchup here. Then we're going to look at Terry Rozier for Charlotte. Now, Charlotte looks like they're not going to have Ball. Now, his price is still pretty high, but last season with Ball out, Rozier had some absolutely dominant games where he scored 50 plus fantasy points. I kind of expect that in this matchup, even though it is a little bit of a tougher matchup into the Knicks. I think Rozier will play well. Obviously, I think Emmanuel quickly will have to play more in order to play defense on him some. But I don't expect that to keep him from at least 5xing in this game. So he does feel kind of like a core play to me. That said, he does carry a little bit of risk because Quickly is a very good defender, and so you do have to keep that in mind. But I think he'll play enough minutes where he'll get the 5x anyway. Then we'll look at Darius Garland for the Cleveland Cavaliers. He is pricey here and his floor is low, but he's got a good ceiling, and I like his upside in this matchup. Should be a plus matchup here for Cleveland, so he's got some potential. Just remember, he has a low floor, so he's squarely a GPP play. Then we'll look at Gobert for Minnesota. He's played very inconsistent throughout the year, as he tends to do, but he has double-double potential in this game. Oklahoma City doesn't play a ton of defense, and should be a high-scoring affair. He should be able to get a bunch of rebounds, which his rebounds have been a little bit more inconsistent than normal. He's also getting a lot of fouls the last few games, so hopefully he can clear that up a little bit in this game, as he won't need to as much because Oklahoma City will definitely shoot a lot of jump shots. So I look for him to get a lot of rebounds and hopefully score enough points to really have a solid game here and have a good upside game. Then we'll look at Jarrett Allen for Cleveland. Now he's finally getting a full complement of minutes. He's had a couple bad games, but his price is still cheap enough that he's in a good spot, especially against a easier opponent. Not that Capella isn't a good defensive player as he tends to be, but Allen has played well, and this game should be higher scoring than a traditional Cleveland game with Atlanta just running all over the place. And I expect him to get some rebounds in this one that should boost his fantasy potential. Then we'll look at Jalen Green for Houston. He's played very well this season. I like his potential here, though he had a couple of floor games against Golden State and the Lakers. I expect him to continue to play well. He seems to actually play better against the tougher teams, which actually this bodes well for him. And he has the potential here, especially because I think that the Houston Rockets will win the game. He's still priced very good, and so I like him a lot here. And then last but not least, we'll look at Mitchell Robinson for the Knicks. He does have a good matchup here against Charlotte. Now Charlotte's, one of the worst teams in the NBA, so I expect him to have some upside in this matchup. He's had a really tough go of matchups the last few games, but this is a good matchup. And the last time he played Charlotte, he scored 27 fantasy points. He only scored 4 real points. I expect him to do better than that today. He should get some blocks and a lot of rebounds in this one. So I do like his upside, especially with Rozier running the point. It should be a little faster paced game, and he should get a lot of potential here. So with that said, guys, thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. Hopefully we get some injury updates that really solidify some value plays on the slate. I think that'll happen, as that's happened every day this week, basically. And you just have to wait closer to slate. So hopefully it'll be a good slate. Good luck winning, and have a nice day, guys.